Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ohio State University at Newark. I'm Amy Mangus, and we are just waiting for a few more people to join us before we get started with tonight's virtual event. Feel free to grab a snack, get your favorite drink while we're waiting. Just about another minute for our extra friends to arrive. Again, if you're just joining us, we're waiting an extra moment for our friends to arrive before we get started. Feel free to get your comfy spot, grab your favorite blanket, snack before we get going. All right, it looks like we have most of our guests with us. I'm sure a few will be coming in as we go through. But again, welcome. My name is Amy Mangus, and we are so happy that you have had the opportunity to join with us tonight. Like I said, I'm the assistant director of our admissions office, and some of you probably recognize this name on the screen. Kelsey is behind the scenes working our chat tonight. So if you have questions, feel free to use the chat and she will help get those answered. She's a fantastic admissions counselor in our office. But the real treat of tonight is to talk about the learning communities here at Ohio State Newark. And with that, I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to let Ashley Moore, who's here with us tonight, do her thing.
All right. Hi, everyone. So like Amy said, my name is Ashley Moore. I'm actually an Ohio State Newark alumni. I graduated in 2020, and then I worked as a student employee, and I was a sesquicentennial scholar during my time at the Newark campus. I loved it so much that I decided to come back in a full-time position. I work for the Office of Retention Student Success Initiatives, which is a very long title. But pretty much my job is to make sure that you're successful personally and academically through your time through college. Outside of that, I work with each of the learning communities here on campus. So I oversee directly 4 learning communities I'll be talking about tonight, and then I work as a liaison for 2 other additional ones. All right, so some of the learning communities I'm going to be going over is our Buckeye Generation Learning Community, Scarlet and Gray Excellence, Engineering, Education, Teaching, and Learning, and then our Global Citizens, and then Ohio Means Science. If you are on this chat, you might have received emails or even letters in the mail, or maybe you've talked to us at a Buckeye Visit Day or some of our other admissions events. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them at the end, or I will also try to tell you about some of the experiences that we have through these learning communities as well. So I'm going to go in more depth, but what do students get? One of the biggest factors I want to mention is those that are in a learning community their first year, we tend to know have higher rates of success as far as their academics, their GPAs, and higher graduation rates compared to those that are not starting in a learning community at the Newark campus through their time in college. And then I have some more kind of expectations and benefits on the next slide. So expectations, and these I also want to mention are benefits of the learning communities. Our students take courses across the year together. What that does is build a community on campus instead of taking multiple classes with students that you might not know, and you have to build those connections early on. Later on, you start in a learning community course with students that you know are in the program with you. All of these courses I'll go over, but they are fulfilling your GE, so you're not getting behind in your major, and you're kind of advancing that through the connections you make with students in the class. Connections with faculty, staff, and peers. So I'll talk more about this, but I work very closely with each of the faculty that work with our learning communities. We have, sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly meetings talking about student success, and then you have peers and our staff to support you as well. and then engaging in activities and experiences. That is what I'm going to emphasize more so tonight, what we're doing in our learning communities now, so you can see what you look forward to next year when you're in a learning community. But our other expectation is just being open to new possibilities while you're joining college. So our first learning community is our largest and our oldest learning community here at the Newark campus. It's the Buckeye Generation Learning Community. It was created in 2012. It's for 60 first-generation college students. So what that means is that neither biological parent in the United States have received a bachelor's degree. Benefits of our Buckeye Generation Learning Community is support from faculty and staff through the major. Like I had mentioned, we do experiential trips off campus for hands-on learning. So one of the trips that we just went on this fall was to our Cleveland Art Museum. Students in the fall take a world history course, and then we get to take them to the Cleveland Art Museum. We go out to lunch, everything is paid for and free, and then we get on a bus. So you can kind of learn more about the artwork and see it in person that you've been talking about all the semester. Our biggest perk, I would say, is our academic scholarship. Outside of the connections that you make, that is divided between both semesters, so $250 per semester that students can utilize for any textbooks they might need, anything as far as like academic supplies and things like that. And then we do help with the transition to the Columbus campus. So one of our things here is that students typically starting on the Newark campus, there is no transition or orientation going to, Columbus campus your second year, third year, or fourth year. So what we do is we really take it upon ourselves our first year to make sure that you have all that support. You're getting connected with your college, your advisor, any organizations you want to be a part of on the Columbus campus as well. And then priority consideration for Newark campus residence hall housing if you would like to live on campus. So there is more housing information on some of our learning community websites that you can go and look towards. But if you would like that, you would need to mention it in your learning community application, and then also mention it and make sure you pay your acceptance fee for housing as well. And then courses taken together, like I mentioned, you take 2 classes in the fall and spring semesters together that fulfill GEs. And then we take a group studies course, which is the best way I can describe it is if you've been involved in some sort of club or organization, this is our meeting time. You get a credit out of it instead of me, requiring you to come at random times during the month. This is something that's already set in your schedule, and you get to connect with your peers each week. Next is our engineering learning community. It's about 40 students, and it was created in 2014. So the purpose of our engineering learning community, why it was created, was to support engineering or pre-engineering majors, and it is to help with the career development among engineering students in their first year. So courses you take together are the first year engineering courses, so engineering 1181 and 1182, which are required for any engineering major. And then you take an engineering group studies course that I kind of mentioned with Buckeye Generation Learning Community, having focused on career development, getting you connected with like resume building, focusing on how to develop yourself as a college student, working on, getting connected with internships and those within the major. Benefits, so I mentioned connections with engineering professionals in the field. So one of the things that we do, we take 2 trips in the fall and spring. So last fall, we just took a trip to the Center for Automotive Research, which is through Ohio State and the Columbus campus. And students were able to tour that, see how they could get involved, even if their major, specifically field of engineering, did not align with that. They're still hiring and looking for interns actively. We also took them to the Columbus campus just to learn more about the College of Engineering, where to find things and meet advisors and have, more direct questions answered just for those students. And then this year we are taking them to the SciDome, which is in Newark. It's at the Work Center, and we're doing that sometime in April, where really, if you get a chance to ever look it up, just look up SciDome in Newark. It's really cool, but they'll get to kind of experience that as well. I mentioned one-on-one support connections for faculty and staff. You get the guaranteed enrollment in the first year engineering courses as long as you're getting the math placement test completed by that April 1st deadline, and the courses taken together to fulfill, that unique cohort that we've mentioned. And support to the transition to Columbus campus. This is something I work heavily with the engineering students, specifically because during their second year, most of them are transitioning to the Columbus campus. So getting you connected to housing, internships, other organizations or other learning communities that they want to be a part of in their second year. And then priority consideration for housing for the engineering learning community as well. So our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, it started in 2018. It was designed to support first-year underrepresented students, having a focus on multiculturalism, diversity, and building a community of similar students on campus. And then the purpose of this learning community, I kind of just mentioned it, I jumped ahead, but allowing students to have that connection on campus that are reflective of different cultures and realities. So supporting students to have that development on campus, specifically the Newark campus. Benefits, some of these benefits align with our other learning communities, so I'll kind of skip around. But our experiential learning trips that we have off campus are some of my favorite for the Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community. You can see one of the pictures on the left from our trip to the Stone Lab. So every fall semester, students are enrolled in an environmental science course, which fulfills your GE. And then we take a trip sometime in early September. I think this year it's going to be on the 16th, 17th, around then, whatever that Friday, Saturday is. And we'll go drive up to Lake Erie and stay on an island. It's about 7 acres that Ohio State owns, and they get to learn all about, what Stone Lab is currently doing. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a great bonding experience for the students. It's a $500 scholarship with this program as well. So very similar to how the Buckeye Generation Learning Community Scholarship works. It's divided between both semesters, $250 per semester. And then you do get to utilize that for any academic supplies or textbooks. Peer mentors, I will go over this more in depth here, I think, in a few slides, so I'm not going to elaborate too much on this, but you do get peer mentors that plan a lot of social and cultural events to help build that community on campus. We have events every month that students are welcome to come to that help you engage with staff, faculty, or just a bonding experience for you in the learning community. And then support for the transition to the Columbus campus and priority consideration for Newark campus residential housing if you'd like to live on campus as well. So our Global Citizens Learning Community, this is the last one that I directly oversee, but it started in 2020. It is 40 first-year students as well, and we're focusing on having an interest in global citizenry, education abroad, and things like that. So the purpose of our Global Citizens Learning Community was to increase awareness of global interconnectedness and focusing on diversity. Students gain that understanding of different cultures around, countries and through cultural conversations. I believe the next slide has our benefits, which I want to elaborate more on some of the trips that we do. So benefits, opportunities to engage in global experiences to help with your future major or career, joint activities with other countries around the globe that we tend to have. And some of the events that we've done or trips that we've done last semester was we took students to the Saraga International Grocery Store. That this past year was my first time going, and it was a lot of fun. Each student got $15. They got to, go around the store, try different foods from different cultures, because they're taking a food and world history course in their fall semester that counts for one of their GEs. And then afterwards, we took them out to lunch. This year, for spring semester, we're actually taking them to the Earthworks, which is the Hopewell ceremonial site, which is Ohio's first World Heritage site. So this will be my first time going as well. It's over in Newark, so it's very close within the community, and students will get to explore that, learn about Indigenous Native American individuals and what they had kind of left behind in the Newark community. And then Newark students, GCLC students do receive priority consideration for education abroad trips too, if you should apply. There is a $500 scholarship with this program, but it is a little bit different than how Scarlet and Gray Excellence and the Buckeye Generation Learning Community Scholarship works. So with this one, it's more geared towards service learning experience, education abroad, professional development, or a research project. An example I like to give of this is, obviously, if you're applying for education abroad, you can use that $500 towards that trip. Let's say you don't want to do education abroad your first year, even though I highly recommend it. You could still work on something professional development or a research project or service learning. Some of the students last year decided they wanted to collect food donations on campus. They were able to create like their own fundraiser, fund it, and then bring awareness to that, and then collect donations and drop them off to a pantry in the Newark community. Another student that I worked with on a more individual basis, They were really into hiking. Their major related to it. I can never remember their major when I need it. But one of the things that they liked to do was they wanted to get a certification in having their own radio and talk show, but they also wanted to learn how to work a ham radio. So when they're hiking or, communication, they could do that through different languages. So they were able to pay for a course that taught them other languages, but then also a certification to be able to have their own radio talk show host. So that way when they're, traveling around, they could do that. And then support for the transition to Columbus campus as well. So lots of cool things that we're doing this year. So I mentioned our academic peer coaches. So for each of the 4 learning communities I just talked about, Buckeye Generation Learning Community, Engineering Learning Community, Scarlet and Gray Excellence, and then our Global Citizens Learning Community have academic peer coaches. These are some that we've had in the past that are all great students, but these are students who have done well academically. They're involved on campus. They are interested in supporting other students as well, and they tie into what learning community they're currently mentoring for. So through this, they obviously get extensive training. So we do reach training, supplemental instruction for learning community courses. So a breakdown of that is how to, it's similar to tutoring, but more so helping students and supporting students and finding the way of how to get the answers for the classes and support for that. So they do that weekly, in addition to helping plan the events, social and cultural events that we have every year too. And then I mentioned I oversee or work as a liaison for 2 other additional learning community courses. So our education, teaching, and learning community, it's a great group. It's for early and middle childhood education majors and pre-majors. So it's about 30 students, and it started in 2016. So the benefits of this program is one-on-one support and connections through the major from the education department. There is a $200 academic scholarship, so utilizing that as well. Plan social and cultural events. We also invite the education TLC to a lot of our events that we have as well. And then workshops to help facilitate learning and personal growth, and courses taken together as a cohort. And when I say courses taken together, if you're coming in as an early or middle childhood education major, you should definitely be a part of this program. I think anyone coming in as that major should consider this program just because you're going to have those close connections. The faculty are amazing and really work with you one-on-one. And so you're really going to get to know those students, and it's going to be like a small little family on campus. I just actually went to a presentation a few months ago, and I felt like I was walking in on some sort of like reunion or like family thing. It was just, they're really close knit. And so it's a great program to be a part of. And then our Ohio Science program is a scholars program. It started in 22, and then it has 15 students, and you do have to be a STEM major for this program. So this Ohio Science program was made possible by a grant that the National Science Foundation donated. It's led by faculty members. Those that participate in this have opportunity to engage in research, internships. There is a trip every single year. I mentioned Stone Lab is one that Sage does. They also go to Stone Lab. I think actually this past year they went to the wilds. So that is something really fun that they get to do together as a group. We have a strong support system through that program. And then there's a scholarship, which this one is great. It's $5,000 per semester up to 2 years. So the link is also there. There are program eligibility requirements, one being that you do have to be Pell eligible, which I know FAFSA was pushed back to March 15th. So if you do not know that, just keeping that open. So that way, if you are eligible and you are a STEM major, you can apply for this program. And here's some of our photos I wanted to share just from some of our events. We do a service learning project every single year in each of our learning communities. And so one of the trips that we did last year was to Hope Farm in Granville. It's a therapeutic equine facility where they work with students that have developmental disabilities. My Buckeye Generation Learning Community and Engineering Learning Community class decided they wanted to work and kind of do a service learning project there. So we took them there for the day. They were able to be around animals, connect with, the owner of the farm and learn more about, what they could do to support them. We also, some of those photos are from Stone Lab, the one with the dog specifically, and then them on the boat. And then we have a cultural dinner, which is one of my favorite events that we do. It's every either October, November, depending on, timing, where every student and all the learning communities are invited to join us, bring a dish from their, culture, share what it means to them, and then we all get to try different foods from, our peers' cultures. So lots of fun that we have. So to apply, here is some more information. So applying by April 1st, students that apply by April 1st and accepted will receive that scholarship for Buckeye Generation Learning Community, Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, Ohio Main Science, and as well as the Teaching and Learning Education Learning Community. So for all of our learning communities, you can go to go.osu.edu/Newark-LC. If you know which one you're planning to apply for, we have our specific links as well below. And then thank you. More information, if you have general questions I'm not able to answer for you tonight, or just want to follow up and say, hey, I submitted my application, and let me know, what you're looking forward to. You can email Newark Learning Communities at OSU.edu, or you can give us a call at 740-755-7881. If you call us and then you don't get a hold of me, feel free to send that email and then I will make sure I give you a call back.
Well, I just want to thank Ashley for giving us all of those great information about the learning communities. My biggest question would be, which one are you interested in? Which one would you like to apply for? So just a little bit of housekeeping for the admission sides. We still have some virtual events coming up. Next one is about student life. So if you want to know how to get involved on campus, you're going to want to make sure that you attend our student life. A very popular one will be the housing. Then we have disability services, and then parent session number 2. If you're interested in any of those and you need to know how to register, it's right there on the screen. It's go.osu.edu/visit Newark. And then if you just want more of us, I encourage you to follow us. Our biggest way to communicate is Instagram. So definitely look at that. And you want to make sure our admissions office specifically is the @Ohio State Newark Buckeyes. Kelsey, who is behind the scenes, does some really great things and promotes wonderful programs here on campus. And then we do have a parent and supporter group on Facebook if you are interested in that as well. And then, of course, if you need the phone number or email to get a hold of admissions office, this is ours, 740-366-9344. And then our email is newark-askabuckeye@osu.edu. And so that is what we wanted to share with you tonight. But I will ask Kelsey, is there anything that we need to answer that we did not answer in the presentation? Anything from families or in the chat?
I have no questions.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And again, thank you for attending tonight. We will have this up on the website within a week in case there's something that you specifically wanted to refer back to. But if there's nothing else, I thank you so much for spending a half hour of your time with us, and I wish you a good night. Thank you.